Hi, this is Miss Litton, and this is 7th period with my wonderful, excellent, whom I love greatly, honors bio student. Say hi. Hi. That was perfect. Okay, so we're going to review chapter 33, population growth and regulation, and I would be remiss if I did not remind you of a couple of things. There is both output and input studying. So tell me right now, raise your hand, or we can do some shout outs, examples of input studying that you can do. Examples of input.
Input can be like reading your book.
Reading your book. I want another one. What's another input? Yeah.
Looking over your notes.
Looking over your incredibly dynamic, wonderful group shared notes with all those images. Yes.
Watching videos.
Watching videos. It could be this video that you're watching right now, or you could watch what else? What's another video? Edpuzzle Bozeman's. You could watch those. Those are all examples of input. But you don't really know what you know until you do some output. Okay? And so examples of output studying would be Quizlet, the book questions. Book questions are really good to do. You know why? Because there's a quiz over those specific chapters, so they have very similar questions that will be asked. Come on in, babe. Similar questions that will be asked on your actual quiz. And where can you find the answers to those? The back of the book. Should you just hold the answer in your head and keep flipping back and forth? Is that the best strategy? No, what's the best strategy? Writing your answers down. Commit on paper. Take it like a test. Then go back and grade it. Whatever ones you miss. I'm in the middle of a review session. Do you need, is there something?
Oh yeah, just a question. I wasn't able to get honors biology book, so is there like an online textbook or?
There is an online textbook. If somebody could show him, who's got online textbook? Anybody? Nobody in here? There is a link right there on my website that takes you to an online textbook.
Okay.
Okay, and why didn't they have a book for you?
They just said to come and do nutrition next time they have it available. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I could get it.
Okay.
Can I just take the computer?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so if you want a book to use right now during 7th period, you can just use mine.
Okay.
Okay, sorry for the interruption, I'm coming back. Okay, what were we talking about? Doing the quiz, use the book, and that's good. To really be prepared for this, do you remember the additional objectives you need to do? One of your 5 questions, so 20% of your quiz is going to come right out of the additional objectives. So you need to make sure you read them, and not only read them, but answer the what? Questions, okay? Should you review your terms? Yes. When you see your terms, and a lot of you, I suggested that whoever has that beautiful font, you take a picture of your terms and put them at the bottom of the group shared notes. Did you do that? Okay. So that way you have a nice set of terms at the bottom. I recommend that you look over each of those terms and make sure you understand them. They should fit within the context of all of our discussions that we had. All right? Tell the person next to you, what is it you're going to need to do that you haven't done already? Go ahead, talk about it. So you're going to want to staple that neatly. All right, and to do the review questions, and here you're logged in at 19 number, okay? 19 number, the number is on the back of your clicker. All right, so first thing off the bat, you need to make sure that you know what the definition of ecology is. So in your mind, think what the definition of ecology is. Like, what are the main parts of that definition? What is that about? Think it in your mind. Okay, and kind of team up with somebody in the room. This will make it the best for you. Who's following me on Pinterest? Like, none of you. Okay, last night I put up 3 really good videos that I found from ASAP Science, if you've ever looked at ASAP Science. One compares going to Harvard to going to City College. It's a good video. One has study tips for science, and one has memorizing techniques. So the study tips for science says if you have to teach something, students usually remember it better if they've had to teach it, as opposed to thinking, oh, I have to memorize this for a test. So that's why I like you to work with somebody. So you have to explain it in your own words. So hook up with somebody in this room in the appropriate way and find out who's oldest, okay? And the oldest bio buddy, could you please give them the definition of ecology, what you remember about it? Okay? Now, when we talked about it, we said it's just like how living things interact with each other, in essence, right? And how they interact with their environment. So living things interact with each other and their environment. That's an essence of ecology. And when we went through, did I show you this little slide right here? Do you remember this? Okay. So we said you could have individual organisms, but if I have a group of organisms, I call that one singular species, I call it a what? Population. If I start throwing in other species, okay, not the environment, but just other species like the caribou and the owl and the grass, then I'm at a what? Community. So community is multiple species. When I get concerned about the environment, the temperature and the weather, I'm talking about the what? Ecosystem. Ecosystem, what word do you all think of when you hear the word ecosystem? What it sounds like the beginning of that starts with an E. Environment, okay? So it's all the organisms and their environment. And then where all life exists, that's the biosphere. That could be in the soil, that could be in the air, that could be in the water, but that's where all life exists. Don't say it out loud, just do the, maybe before you hit submit, you can show your bio buddy, because they're super smart, you want to verify. Go for a hundy on this. Feel strong. 19 number if you just walked in. And you got to move faster because we got to hit all the review points, okay? So Sunset Orange, sorry. Oh, Shaka Khan, you did get an A, so that's good. Good job, Teal Blue, Razzmatazz, and Mellow Yellow. Okay, so when I'm looking at only one species, I'm looking at a population. Why is B wrong? Somebody picked B. Tell me out loud. That's more than one. Somebody picked D, organism.
Organism's only one.
One thing. And I said a group. One thing is not a group. Okay, tell your bio buddy, did you get it right? Did you struggle? Okay, don't say it out loud when somebody else is trying to think. Just wait for them, and when you're both done, you can share. Share and show. 5, 4, 3. If you're watching this video and it's after 11 o'clock at night, you really should have started earlier. And you should be going to bed right now because you know you're tired. I'm just saying, you need to be, now, if something came up with your family, you're just going to help it, okay, I get it. But you really should be going to bed right now. And you should eat a good breakfast in the morning. And you should work out because it's good for you. Sunset Orange. Okay, oh, what a struggle. What a struggle. So let's talk about this. I think we just reviewed this. This is why this is so shocking pink to me. All the species in one area and the environment. All the species, then we're not just talking about population, we're at community, but then I threw in environment, so it has to be the ecosystem. Tell your bio buddies, Shadowlands or Sunshine. Show them your clicker. Let's go. Okay, let me do some clarification. If you're not being careful now, when it doesn't matter, can you see how you're practicing not being careful for when you have your quiz tomorrow? Practice being careful all the time. Okay, don't celebrate your ignorance. Okay, be strong. Okay, low scores are a sign of weakness. Okay, so is sickness. Okay, now, I'm kidding. Who did I say that to?
The 0 period.
0 period, yeah. Okay. Somebody picked biosphere. Why are we not picking biosphere?
That's all the earth.
Yeah, everything in all the earth. It's not just one local area. Somebody picked community. What's community missing? Yeah, because it says in the environment. And then somebody picked E, population. No, because it doesn't say one species. It says all the species. All right. Okay, step up your game. All right, so then we said, okay, if we're going to study a population in an area, we want to see how fast it's growing. So we could look at its rate of increase. So what we take is we take the birth rate and we subtract out how many died over the total population size. And that number that you're talking about is R. Is R. Okay? Now when I see that R, I think of all kinds of things. Things related to R that we learned. Let's try to make some connections from the whole chapter. You can pull from the whole chapter connections to R. Who wants to give me one connection to R that you could do? Yes. Okay. If you are an R selected species, right? You have a 401k. Are you saying eat and drink because tomorrow we could die?
Yeah.
Eat and drink because tomorrow we could die. Yeah, is not the answer. Okay, so that if I think about that, anything R, let's create some things about R. Everything related to R. Hi, new page. It's so slow. Okay. I don't know why it's so slow. R selected would be a J-shaped growth curve, right? There's a little lag time in this. There's a lag time right here, and then we have exponential growth. What else could we say about R selected? What are some other things? I need somebody else to be using their large mammalian brain. Yes?
They care about their growth rate. Or their...
Think about this. Think about it.
They have a bunch of babies.
Okay. Lots of babies. Do they care for those babies?
No.
Yeah. No care. Okay. What else could you tell me about them? Yes?
Once they reach the top of the exponential, their population has kind of an S.
Could be if they are S-shaped, if they are a logistic growth curve. But these ones were just, it's going to crash and burn in this case. Yes?
It's an opportunistic pattern.
Opportunistic pattern. Okay? Are they colonizers or competitors? They like to colonize. Right. That's something we can pull from that. What else could we say about them? Yes?
They're usually small in size.
Usually small. Exactly. What else could we say about them when we think R? Maximum R. What else could we say? Think about another curve you had. This right here is referred to as a growth curve. You could give me another curve. What would that curve be?
Generally type 3.
Okay, of a what kind of curve is that? Survivorship. Good. So type 3, remember, went like this. Of 1,000 babies born, most die. So they tend to be a type 3 survivorship curve. So lots of babies, no care, they're small, they're opportunistic, they like to colonize. That's pretty good. Okay, we talked a lot about R. So now, give me the other one. What can we say? What's the other one called? If you're not R, you're what? K. So let's start thinking about K things. Give me some K things. Yes?
They're often type 1.
Okay, type 1 what?
Type 1's survivorship.
Yep, survivorship. Okay, so when they start out with 1,000 babies, most of those babies survive and die off when they're old. So that's a type 1. What else do we know about these guys? Yes?
They have less babies.
Fewer babies. Fewer offspring. What else do we know about them? I want some more things. Yes?
They tend to have more care for their
More
offspring.
care. More care for their offspring. What else do we know about them? Yes?
Longer lifespan.
Longer lifespan. Oh, that makes me want to revisit something, right? Back here, we could say that they have a what? Shorter. Good. Okay, what else could we say? Yes, I need somebody else. Yes, go.
S-shaped curve.
Yes. What's another name for that?
Logistic.
Logistic. So they have a logistic growth curve. Okay, so if I did a logistic growth curve, do they have a lag phase? Yes. Do they have an exponential phase? Yes. And then it hovers right here. It hovers at something. What does it hover at? What is that? Tell me, everybody. Carrying capacity. Is there anything else we want to add on to that? Yes.
They tend to be bigger animals.
Good. Come over. Come over. They're usually larger. Anything else? Yes.
I just have a question.
Yes.
Where's the type 2 survivorship curve?
Okay. Yeah. So sometimes they don't hold. They'll be like, I'm a 1-2 or a 2-3. So birds are typically a 2, but they can kind of fall either way. These are the two extremes. Because sometimes things aren't super R or super K. They might be somewhere in between there.
So survivorship is separate from R and K.
No, you just have a tendency. If you're a full maximum R, you know, R selected species, if you're opportunistic, you generally have a type 3 survivorship curve. If you're K selected, logistic growth curves tend to have a type 1 survivorship curve, usually. Yeah. Okay, are you good on those? Can we, yes?
Aren't they competitors?
Yes, that's another good one. They like to compete. Okay, they like to compete. What else? Yes.
Equilibrium.
Equilibrium pattern, nice. That's typical of that K, is that equilibrium pattern. Yes. What? Humans are an example. Let's talk about humans for a minute, though. Speaking of humans, okay? Overall, what's going on with the human population? It's increasing, yes. And where do we see more of that in? An MDC or an LDC? What does LDC stand for? Less developed country, and an MDC is a more developed country. Okay, and we're seeing that exponential growth curve. And then that makes me think about some patterns that we see, age structure diagrams. Remember those? Age structure diagrams. So you usually have like 3 colors. Now I'm going to show 2 extremes here. It could fall somewhere in between that. Okay, if these are age structure diagrams, what do these colors represent? Tell me pink. Yep, that's pre-reproductive. What's green? Reproductive. And what's blue? Post. Okay, post-repro. Which one would be found usually in an LDC? Tell me.
More triangular.
Yeah, this one was typical of LDC, and this is more typical of a MDC. Exactly. And what does that pyramid show me? If you show me it's all about the... You go ahead, try it.
Oh, I was gonna say most humans won't make it to the elderly stage in a less developed country. It's a lot about making babies and then they don't survive.
Okay, yeah, and so but what we wanted to point out here as it relates to population size is if you have a large base, then that means they are all moving up from their base from pre-reproductive to what? Reproductive. So what's going to happen to the size of the number of ladies that are reproducing? It's going to get what? Bigger. And if more ladies are reproducing, you're going to have more babies, and all of those bonus babies are moving up again and again and again. And what's going to happen to that population size? It's going to increase, right? Where if it looks about the same, like in an MDC, then however many move up, probably that many are moving out, and you're kind of keeping it the same. Ideally, you would have what kind of population growth? Zero population growth. Yes?
So, is it saying that, like, the triangle one, it's like because, like, they're having more, like, children, then that's why the bottom is bigger, but, like, the people in the post-reproductive, like, phase, they're not, like, dying off, it's just
Don't worry about the dying off so much. What you want to think about is the population size here is going to continue to go up, and this one is more stable.
Okay.
And the reason why this one's going to go up is because you have so many that are moving from pre-reproductive into reproductive. So they'll move up. Yes.
Wouldn't there be like triangles wider than like others? Like if you talk about Uganda, where basically like
Yes, your triangle size is going to vary.
yeah, like,
Yeah, there's lots of variations you could have in this. So I'm just pointing out the extremes.
yeah.
Yeah, and if this pink was really small, if I erase some of this pink, what would be happening to that population? It'd be going down. Okay, we good on that part? Okay, so now let's kind of jump around and look back, make sure we have everything. Some keywords we talked about. We talked about biotic potential, maximum reproduction. Okay, maximum reproduction. And we said that was dependent on 4 things. We said age when you first start. If you start a week after you're born, do you think you're going to have more babies? Yes. Most of you won't start, Lord willing, till you're 25, 27 years old, and then you'll start making babies once you're in a stable relationship, right? Not now, not 15, okay? So, average number of offspring per reproduction. Do you have 6 babies normally or 1 baby? How often each individual reproduces? Every 6 weeks? Every 6 months? Every 6 years? Okay? And chance of survival until age of reproduction. Who's going to have a larger biotic potential? A mayfly or an elephant? Mayfly. Why? They're a what kind of selected species? Are selected. They're all about the babies. They maximize their biotic potential. They don't invest in their young, and they're just cranking them out as fast as they possibly can. You want to do this question again, or can I move forward? You want to do it?
Yeah.
5, 4. On average, 100 seedlings are produced by each plant every year. That's telling you the number of babies. Okay, so that one sounds relevant. 50% of the seedlings grow into mature plants. What is that referring to? Chances of survival. Good. It reproduces annually. What is that referring to? How often? It produces its first flowers at 5 years of age. When a plant makes its flowers, that's like unzipping its pants and letting its junk out. Okay? That's what a flower is. Okay. So that sounds relevant. Okay? So this one is the one that's irrelevant. All right, some people struggled. Tell them, were you in the shadow? Okay, or were you in the sunshine on this one? Okay, now I'm going to put this one up as a dual. This one up as a dual because I hear you, but just give me 1 second. It's because I think you understand both of these. So one of you is going to take one of you is going to take the other. We've already discussed it, so this should be a quick review you have with each other. But hang on one before you start.
Is exponential growth like the highest part?
Yes,
Okay.
the steepest rise.
Yeah.
Okay, go. Each of you take one. Be quick about it. Go. Clarifying questions? Clarifying questions? Okay. So then we already went over this, so this is not difficult at all. But we talked about cohorts as a group of individuals born at one time. Not all of them are going to make it. And then we differentiated between our 3 different survivorship curves. Type 1, most offspring survive and have their lifespan. Opposite of that, type 3, most offspring die. In betweener, type 2. And the way you're going to remember that is very Trump-like and go, we're number 1, we're number 1. All right. Little Trump does. Yeah. But we can keep all those LDCs away, right, by just building a wall. Yeah. That was sarcasm. This is a handy opportunity right here. A handy opportunity. Blizzard blue, burnt sienna, let's go. 3, 2. Okay. Most seedlings die. That would be a type what? 3. Okay? Death. That's not like, I don't get it, I don't understand it, can you explain it to me? I just don't know it. I didn't take the time to learn it. This is your left hand, this is your right hand. Most seedlings die, type 3. There's no explanation there, okay? You just know it. All right. Next, we went into our whole human population. We already talked about this, and we keep making all these babies, 0 population growth. We looked at different examples. Those were just to kind of reiterate my point. Skip. Oh, stop it. Okay, we talked about how more developed countries are a smaller percentage of our overall population, but we produce what? Most of the population, and we consume the most stuff and resources, right? All right. And here are those age structure diagrams, which we already went over, right? We already went over the age structure diagrams. So then we went to regulation of population size, and we have already gone over this, opportunistic versus equilibrium. Our cockroaches are an example of a R-selected, right? Opportunistic, small, short lifespan, mature fast, produce a lot of offspring, do not care for these offsprings. That's your R-selected. Eat and drink because tomorrow we may die. Whereas the opposite of that is your K pattern. Hover at their carrying capacities, competitors, not colonizers, equilibrium, large, long lifespan. Are you good on that? Can I move on? Of course I can. All right. We then went and talked about things that can regulate our population size, and we differentiated. We said density independent and density dependent. All right. Where does density matter? Where do we care about numbers? Where are we hovering somewhere at a carrying capacity? What kind of species? K. K are all about the density dependent. I'm thinking this through. There's only this many spots. Okay, so density dependent are more about K, and density independent are more about what? R. Yeah. Okay, and we talked about that there are different factors, abiotic and biotic factors. Abiotic are these tend to be density dependent or density independent? Density what? Yeah, these are usually density independent. Okay, these type, like the temperature is. It doesn't care how many individuals are there. Either the storm comes or the storm doesn't come. These kind of things, predation, symbiotic relationships, disease. These are more density what? Dependent. And we went through several examples of density independent species, storms, hurricanes, weather. They strike small populations and large populations the same percentage. Okay? When we looked at density dependent things, these are fighting to be the alpha male, fighting for the mate, fighting for the food. Things like disease strike where you're overcrowded. Disease is going to start to wipe them off. The number of predators is going to wipe them out. Riddle me this. Good thing when you're taking notes is stuff that you feel the weakest about, put your name and put need to review or feel weak on, and type things as I talk and go, oh, I should go over this, I should go over that. Everybody can have their own list of things when you're in your group shared notes. That way you remind yourself, I should review that a little more. Should have a chance for a Hundy here. This is Hundalicious. Let's go, periwinkle. Aquamarine. Sunset orange, I think they're, okay, so let's talk about this. Biotic. Biotic means what? Living or non-living? Living. pH of water. Is the pH of the water a living or a non-living thing? Non-living. Thank you. Parasites. Living. Decomposers. Living. What's an example of a decomposer? Fungus. Good. Mushroom. Weather patterns. Non-living. Shelter. Non-living. Predators. Living. Autotrophs. Living. These are things like plants. Ask your bio buddy. Shadowlands or sunshine? What did we get on that? Oh my gosh, we got a C minus. Let's try to get an A plus on this one. Try for the A plus. You can do it. I believe in you.
I just want to be on the board.
Answers the fastest.
5, 4, 3, 2. Much better. You went up to a B. Okay.
Oh, I hate that.
Weather. Right? Everything else you're competing. Weather is density independent. It doesn't care if there's 1,000 individuals or 5 individuals. Weather happens. That would be density independent. Okay? Actually, I'm going to come back to these. I want to hit the end just in case some of you got to go. You need to know the difference between, or competition, 2 different species can compete. You can also compete within your species as well. And then you need to know the difference between a habitat and a niche. Which one is where you live? what you do, niche. Can you have one habitat with several different niches within it? Yes. Right?
Mine's froze.
Because this is one habitat, but you have zebras, you have grass, you have lions, you have vultures. They are each exploiting a different niche. Right? They have a different job. They're all living in the same place. That's the habitat. The different job they have, that's the niche. All right? We talked about that no two species can occupy the same exact niche. Only one person can sit in your seat right now, right? Not two people, one person. Okay? So competitive exclusion principle says somebody could sit in it next class period, right? Just not right now. Competitive exclusion says no two species can occupy the exact same niche for a length of time. It just doesn't work with people. It'd have to be like if a dog sat in your seat later or something. We talked about resource partitioning. So you divide it up. Your dog sleeps in the doghouse, you sleep in your bed. That's resource partitioning. We looked at an example of Darwin's finches exploiting different aspects of the Galapagos Islands. Predator-prey cycling, just kind of buzzing through here on the end so you guys can get this. Predator-prey cycling, one dependent upon the other. If the hare numbers go up, that's more food for the lynx, so his number will go up. As the lynx numbers go up, they'll eat more of the hare number goes down, so too does the lynx. They're interdependent. If there's a drought and the hare has nothing to eat, so there's fewer and fewer of these, there'll be fewer and fewer of these. We talked about different adaptations that organisms can have so they won't get eaten. Plants can have spines, you can have warning coloration and be toxic, and you can hide. Okay, we talked about those. And we talked about there were two kinds of mimics. Do you remember the difference between the two types of mimics? Yes?
One is used for, like, if you want to, like, so if you want to defend themselves and acting like they are very dangerous.
Yes.
Like the,
so a Batesian mimic would be like a beetle who's trying to look like a what? Bee. He is tasty, but he's trying to look like a distasteful one. That's a Batesian. You can think of it like, oh, I hope they take the bait. I hope I trick them. Okay, that's Batesian. A Mullerian mimic would be like a bumblebee and a wasp. They're all black and yellow, and they mimic each other. And I remember that with the double L, stinger, stinger. And then we talked about the different symbiotic relationships. Mutualism is plus plus. Commensalism plus I don't care. Parasitism is plus minus. What is this?
Parasitic.
Parasitic, good. What is this? Mutualism, right? Because they both benefit. The birds get a tasty snack, and they get the ticks removed. Okay, and then last but not least, we talk about ecological succession, change over time of a particular environment. One species can change it so another one wants to live there instead, or it's better adapted. We said what you start with. If it's rock, it's primary succession. If you start on soil, it is secondary. Secondary succession and soil, right? And we said a little bit of disturbance is good. Intermittent disturbance, and then you get the most biodiversity. Okay, good job. Way to hang in there. Extra 4 minutes. Okay, where can you find practice questions? Back of the book. Where else can you find it? Online textbook. Okay, make good choices. Get your sleep. Okay, be smart. Bye, sweetheart.